It's time to live your stronger life. Hey, I'm Sammy, physio coach and nutritionist, and your hype girl for creating your stronger life. Here, we ditch the quick fixes and build real strength inside and out. So whether you're here to tone up, drop the body fat, build muscle, mental resilience, or ditch the diet culture, or just feel bloody good in your skin, you're in the right place. So let's get into it.
I don't want to eat too much protein. Won't it damage my kidneys? I don't want to bulk up. I heard you can only absorb 30 grams of protein at a time, so there's no point in eating any more. And I hear different versions of these same things on a daily basis. And every single time I want to sit down and gently let them know, where did you hear that? Because that is not true. And also another one is women eating 200 grams of protein. That also is not necessary. But protein is genuinely one of the most important macros for any woman or human being who is training and is just living. It is the thing that preserves your muscles when you're in a calorie deficit when combined with strength training. And it is the thing that keeps you a little bit fuller. It is the thing that supports your recovery, your hormones, and your body composition. And many women are chronically under eating it. And then there are also some who are well overeating it and under eating carbs. But that is for another podcast. So today we're going to be busting some myths about protein and giving you a clear, simple plan for actually hitting your protein targets without it feeling like a part-time job. So myth number 1, high protein damages your kidneys. This is a really persistent one, and the concern about high protein and kidney damage applies to people with pre-existing kidney disease, but in healthy adults, high protein diets don't damage your kidneys or liver function when you're having a reasonable amount. There is evidence to show that even up to 4 grams per kilo of body weight is actually okay for kidneys in short to medium term. It hasn't been tested over the long term, but in short to medium term, even that humongous amount was actually all right for kidney and liver function. It's not necessary, but it was okay in the short to medium term. So if you have a medical condition that does affect your kidneys, absolutely discuss this with your doctor as well. But if you're a healthy woman who is training, generally speaking, 120 to 150 grams of protein per day is going to be absolutely fine. It is going to, based on your activity levels, your muscle mass, your age, your body composition, the types of protein that you're eating. There's a lot of factors to consider on what is appropriate or not. How much water you're drinking is going to really impact it as well. As in high protein, drink a lot of water. That will also protect your kidney health. You know what? More often than not, it's not the protein that's the issue. It's that you're not drinking enough water. But anyways, I digress. Having that amount of protein is safe for your kidneys, but having too much is just not necessary for your body either. A nice easy rule of thumb, just to keep it really simple, is 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. Ideal body weight, if you have a lot of body fat, then your body weight may be skewed. So for example, if you're over 100 kilos, don't double your body weight to have that amount of protein, because that's a hectic amount. Kind of go off imagine if you're at a healthy body fat percentage, and then that 2 times that for your minimum protein amount, and that's a pretty decent starting point. A little bit more when you're in a calorie deficit, and if you're eating tons of carbs and you're fueling your body and you're in a bit of a building phase, you can get away with the slower end of the range, because it's always a range. It's not one fixed number. It's a range for what your body can do, and everyone feels better. Some people feel better with a little bit more. Some people's tummies can't handle it and they feel better with a little bit less. So it is about what do you need, but also what do you feel good with at the same time. But I promise you, 180, 200 grams for females, it ain't it. It's not needed, but it's not going to damage your kidneys either. Okay, myth number 2, eating more protein will make you bulky. No, protein can't make you bulky. Getting bulky, it requires a calorie surplus, whatever macronutrient that comes from, and consistently progressive overload training and high testosterone levels, genetics is also a role. But more often than not, most women who feel bulky from strength training, it's not the strength training that made them feel bulky, it's the fact that their muscles are then surrounded by a lot of body fat, and that's what creates the bulk in more cases than not. Some women are more genetically disposed to have a larger frame, and they'll build muscle easier than some who have a naturally smaller frame who won't build muscle as easy. That can play a role here, but the amount of protein you eat, that doesn't affect things at all. Protein is the bricks to a house, like it's a building blocks. It doesn't spontaneously turn into muscle because you eat it. You will not build muscle without the stimulus, and the stimulus is training. So it's the same as like you won't build a house without builders or a blueprint. You won't build a house without training. You won't build your body without training. And protein is just the materials that the builders and the blueprint uses, right? So you need to train hard and eat enough overall. And patience. Gosh, you have no idea how long it takes to bulk up, like to build muscle and look bulky from building muscle. That is years and years and years and years. You will not accidentally pick up a dumbbell and just suddenly be like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you won't accidentally eat a chicken breast and then wake up and be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, trust me, if it were, then I wouldn't be struggling so hard to build muscle myself, but hard gainer over here. So what protein actually does though is it helps you to preserve the muscle you already have while you're in a fat loss phase. Without enough protein in a calorie deficit, you lose muscle alongside your body fat. You end up smaller but softer, what most people will call skinny fat. With enough protein and the right training, you hold your muscle and you lose body fat and you look and feel lean and strong. And that's the outcome that most women are after. Okay, myth number 3, you can only absorb 30 grams of protein at a time. This one is not accurate. Your body doesn't have like some hard cap inside its body that's like, whoop, 30 grams of protein, not going to absorb anymore, see ya. Like, it's not like some bouncer on the door that's like, we're at full capacity, see ya. It's just not how the body works. Now, there is like an anabolic cap, whereas like a ceiling on how much muscle protein synthesis a single meal can trigger. So yes, to a certain extent, like don't go and eat all of your protein in one day, like all your daily quota of protein in one sitting. That's not going to be fabulous on your digestion. And yes, you're not going to use all of that for muscle protein synthesis because your body can't store protein the same as it stores carbs or fat to use later on. So you do kind of want to space it out throughout the day, have it consistently in like decent amounts, and that is better than having it all in one go. But like, how much is it? Like, how long is a piece of string? Anywhere between 25 to 50 grams of protein per meal, spaced every like 3 or so hours, is absolutely fine and perfect. But it's not like 30 grams. Boom, it's like, it's a window, right? Like it depends on so many factors. That's why I say how long's a piece of string. And then beyond that, the additional protein isn't wasted. It's just used for other functions. It can be converted to glucose for energy. It may be used for like immune support, other metabolic processes, other things in the body beyond just building the muscles. So what this really means in practice is spreading your protein across 4 to 5 meals, or like eating moments, whatever you want to call it, throughout the day is ideal for maximizing muscle protein synthesis or muscle building signals. But not because extra protein is wasted, it's just because of the way that the body works and the way it pulsates with the muscle protein synthesis triggers. It's just more effective, and there is some research on it. It's not a huge difference. You could eat 100 grams of protein in one sitting, or you can space it out throughout the day. Like, they both are going to be effective, but it's just a bit better to space it out throughout the day. Okay, myth number 4, I don't need that much protein. This is a really common one that I hear from women who are over 50, in their 60s, 70s, or even 80s. Like, as women think that as they get older, they need less protein. But it's like actually the absolute opposite. As you get older, you need more protein because your body is less sensitive to the muscle protein synthesis process and the stuff that the protein does to your body. So you actually need more protein as you get older, not less. And many women who are training and trying to build muscle and get stronger are eating like under 100 grams of protein per day, which honestly is just not going to be enough. And when you start to actually have enough, even 120 grams, you're like, whew, I feel like a new woman. You have so much more energy, you're recovering better, you're able to get stronger and build that muscle really effectively. And as you get older, there is some recommendations that for every year after the age of 40, you need to add 1% more protein to your diet. And so here's what happens when you actually hit your protein consistently. Your hunger like stabilizes, your training recovery improves, you preserve more muscle through your fat loss phases, and your results compound over time. Okay, so let's recap on like how much do you actually need. We'll just make it really simple. Like, I know research will be like 2.2 to 2.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight. And this does go up as you get older. This will change if you're in a fat loss phase versus not a fat loss phase. And there's different ways that you can calculate it. There's different things between whether you compare to kilograms of body weight versus pounds of body weight, like all the bits and bobs. I know like another example is like to keep it super simple, it's like 1 pound. 1 gram per 1 pound. So if you're 125 pound person, then 125 grams. If you're a 150 pound person, have 150 grams, but that can get pretty hectic pretty quick. So more like, that's why I'm like, yeah, honestly, I just like to keep it simple and not make everyone do brain math, because brain math is hard. As someone who absolutely adores maths, brain math is hard. So yeah, anywhere between 120 and 160 grams of protein for most women, just generically speaking, is pretty damn fine. You know, if you're taller, you're heavier, you're more active, you may sit toward the higher end. If you're smaller or you're just starting out, then the lower end may be a great place to start. The number doesn't need to be perfect every single day, but it should be a kind of a rough range, like, you know, give or take 10 grams is a pretty good starting point for most women. And if you don't know where you're at right now, start tracking for the next couple of days and weigh your food. Don't just log one chicken breast, like actually weigh the foods, because you'll be quite surprised. Every chicken breast is not the same with like the weight, so that could always play a role there. And like some women are like, I eat heaps of protein, and then they track it and they're like, oh my god, I'm not having like any protein at all. So definitely I highly recommend weighing and tracking your food for a little while, just to see where you're at, so then you can also make adjustments and informed adjustments so that you're actually fueling your body properly. And this is one of the best levers that you can make if you're training and you're struggling to see any changes in your body. All right, the best protein sources. Let's talk about the food, because hitting protein targets is a lot easier when you know what you're working with. So your highest quality animal-based sources are chicken breast or thigh, lean beef mince or extra lean beef mince, white fish like barramundi, salmon, prawns, eggs, egg whites, Greek yogurt, real Greek yogurt though, because natural style Greek or like Greek style yogurts, like some of them are like 4 grams of protein per 100 grams, which is like not good at all. But Greek yogurt, like real Greek yogurt and also high protein yogurts, you should be getting closer to like, you know, 9, 10, 11 grams of protein at least per 100 grams. That's a lot better. Oh, and cottage cheese is also a really good one. So these are really high quality protein sources, which means that your body will absorb it and you actually utilize majority of the protein that actually comes from those foods. Whey protein isolate and eggs are the 2 highest bioavailable best quality sources of protein that you can get. Everything else is absolutely fabulous as well, but they're like your top dogs, absolute amazing ones. And then if you are plant-based, now the plant-based sources are not as high quality as the animal-based sources for how your body absorbs and utilizes that protein. So if you're vegan, you actually need to push towards the higher end of the protein to kind of balance out the quality, but soy is still an absolutely fabulous option up in that high quality amount. So tofu, tempeh, edamame, fabulous. They're actually complete proteins with the amino acid profile as well. And then if you're having things like lentils, legumes, chickpeas, beans, pair them with rice, and that is then going to help make it a complete protein, which is going to help to improve the quality of the protein. Now, a lot of key plant proteins, though, are lower in leucine. And I keep talking about amino acids. And amino acids are like the little building bricks that are inside of protein. Like protein's made of stuff and it's made of amino acids. And so plant proteins tend to be a bit lower in leucine. And that is the amino acid that triggers muscle protein synthesis. So you need slightly more total protein from plant sources to get that same muscle building signal. But like I mentioned, if you get a protein powder, a pea and rice combination, or a soy protein isolate, both are absolutely fabulous for that option as well. And then again, if you're going to get a supplement, otherwise, if you can have dairy, a whey protein isolate is your absolute best option. Now, how do you know if a food is like high in protein? Well, at a bare minimum, you want to be getting 10 grams of protein per 100 calories. And then that way it is a decent source of protein. Now, there is a difference between the physical weight of the food and how much protein it gives you. For example, 100 grams of chicken breast weighed on your plate will not give you 100 grams of protein. So for example, 100 grams of raw chicken weighed on your plate will get you, closer to 25 grams of protein. As I mentioned before, 100 grams of a high protein yogurt will get you close to 10 or 11 grams of protein. One egg will get you about 6 grams of protein, but an egg could weigh about 50 grams. So the weight of the food is not the same as how much protein you are getting from the food, and that is a really common mistake many women make. So make sure that you're noting that difference. So when you're weighing and tracking your food, then you have a look at the protein amount. So how to actually hit your protein targets. Here's an approach that I give to all my women is start with your calories and your protein and divide it by 4. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. Most women, that's going to land somewhere between that 30 to 35 grams of protein, which is why you always hear that on social media if everyone's like, get 30 grams of protein, because it's just like, if you do it 4 times in the day, you're going to get 120 grams of protein. It's a pretty damn good starting point. Then plan out your protein foods in your day. So breakfast, you may be like, cool, I'm going to have some yogurt and some protein powder. And then like lunch, you're going to be like, I'm going to have chicken or I'm going to have fish. And then dinner, you're like, cool, I'm going to have salmon or I'm going to have extra lean beef mince or tofu or whatever. And then snacks, you're like, I might have a boiled egg or I'm going to have a yogurt or maybe one of those fun little high protein desserts or whatever you want. You get the picture. Pick your protein foods and fill them out in your tracking app first. Aim to get about 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal to get yourself started. The reason why I'm saying it's a little bit lower is because once you fill out your carbohydrate foods and your fats foods, then that's also going to contribute to the protein amount because other foods have traces. Like you'll get trace amounts of protein from your veggies. You'll get trace amounts of protein from your oats, from your potatoes, from your rice as well. So it does all add up. So if you just like shoot for a tiny little bit lower, once you add all your carbs and your fats in, you will hit your protein intake and you just split it up like that. Keep it really simple. Focus on your calories and your protein and your fiber, but fiber's for another podcast. We're talking about protein today. Pre-planning is your best friend here. When you know what you're eating for the day, hitting targets becomes a decision you made in the morning or yesterday or 3 days ago and not a scramble at 9 p.m. going, oh, dang it, I got so much more to eat and I'm so full and I want to go to bed. And you know what? On a busy day, I have been there as well. So here is what I want you to take away from this podcast. Most women are approaching nutrition from a what do I cut mindset. Cut the carbs, cut the calories, cut the fats. And I want you to flip it into an additive mindset of what do I need to add to support my body right now. And more often than not, it is protein. So make sure we are getting enough to support our appetite, our energy, our muscle, and fat loss is going to become more efficient and you're going to get much better results. Speaking of fat loss that I did not actually mention that I just thought of at the very end of this podcast. When you are changing your calories and you're like, yeah, but I'm doing like 30% protein, 30% carbs, 20% fat. And I'm like, I don't think that math just said that was not the correct maths. But anyways, you get the picture. That is the worst way that you can do it. Your protein should be a fixed number or like a range. You could say 130 to 140 grams of protein. It shouldn't be a percentage based off your calories because as your calories go down, therefore your protein target's going to go down. Therefore, you're going to undereat in protein. Make protein a number target and then your carbs and fats can be a percentage if you really want to do it that way. But honestly, calories, protein, fiber, they're the 3 things you need to focus on. The carb to fat ratio is not the end of the world. Make sure your fats aren't too low because it needs to support your hormonal levels. But yeah, the biggest mistake I always see is women do their protein as a percentage of their calories. And then as they go through the fat loss process, their protein dwindles down to nothing at all. Anyway, so hopefully that helps to break through a couple of the common protein myths and also helps to get you started with hitting your protein requirements without going overboard. And if you would like some high protein recipes to also help get you started with hitting your protein goals, then just jump on Instagram and DM me high protein recipes, please, and I'll send them straight to you.
Thanks so much for listening. If you found this episode valuable, please rate, review, and subscribe. And I'd love if you shared this on your Instagram and tag me Sammy_LiveStrong. And if you'd like to learn more about my coaching and join the Project Livestrong family, please message me Livestrong on Instagram and I'll see how I can help. I'll see you next time.